Alright, so let's go find this little grading chart thingamajigger that Revy Deuce put together and he would like everyone to use. To grade our particular arc. Oh, scout. Squirrel. What? Squirrel? Huh? Okay. So let's pause that for a second. Actually, before I forget. Let's see what we got left. Okay, so I got 45 minutes left on my bubble. Just checking my other account. I don't want to get too sidetracked by this and then end up being unshielded for a while. Relocators are little robot spiders from SG-1. I did not watch Stargate. I heard it was a good show, and I know they did a whole bunch of spin-offs, but that was not a franchise that I ever got myself involved in. Okay, what is your ops level? Well, for this arc, I was 45 through 49, because I was 49 up until the arc ended, so we're going to go with that one. Where is my server based? It is a US based server, although I do also play on the EU, so I don't like being limited to this, but that's fine. I understand. Okay. How do we want to grade the officers? A, officers are must-have? No. One officer is a must-have? No. They only released 2 officers this arc. One was Beverly, one was Admiral Picard. Neither of them are must-haves. Beverly is a nice one to have and would be an upgrade. Picard is supposed to be an upgrade over Weyoun for PvP. My personal results haven't shown that. I still find I get better results with the Explorer Strike Team than I do using Picard and hybrid crews. So I think I'm going to give these guys a C. I think I'm going to give it a C. Because maybe when you get Picard up a couple tiers and he's getting like a 3,000% damage bonus against Explorer players, maybe that'll be better than his 500% that he starts with. Like there's a big jump as you tier up Picard. Same thing with Beverly. Like right out the gate, if you tier him up a little bit, sure, that could be good. So let's give them a C. Neither officer is a must-have, but Beverly seems to scale up well for later usage. However, we have no information about future sourcing for her. Feature grading. What was the feature this month? The mess hall. Okay. How do we rank the mess hall? We'll give the mess hall a B. Because the mess hall is a decent building. It gives you weapon damage, which already has a few things that modifies it. It has a component titanium cost efficiency, which is very helpful, even if it is just a minor one. It has an officer stat bonus. It has a research speed bonus. And it is not ops locked. So this is a building that, especially for the lower end of the spectrum of the range of players, will actually have a pretty big payout. You know, if you're level 15, level 20, and you're slowly moving through the game, but you've got a level 25 or a level 30 mess hall, you're getting some better officer stats because you won't have prime officers and stuff yet. You won't have those prime researchers that we all take for granted because we've scrapped our Mayflowers and stuff already. They won't have any of that yet. Research speed bonuses, they won't have any of those yet. Weapon damage bonuses, they're not going to have a lot of research. So I think for the lower end of the player base, The mess hall is an incredibly valuable building, and because they can keep moving it as long as they have collect officer shards and can tear people up, which there's enough common and uncommon officers that they'll gather along the way that they can get this thing up a good ways, well into the 30s or 40s, before they really start to have any problems with their officer levels and being limited by that, and they're going to get some big bonuses for it. So I like the mess hall, and I think it really does help the lower end players more than the higher end players, which is not something we typically see with the game. Usually everything is very top heavy. Xborg Research. Well, this we have to give an A. This is a complete quality of life improvement, being able to go out and kill 6 things and finish 13 dailies, or 7 things and finish 13 dailies. Tremendous value there. Tremendous value there. GP gave it a B. Lloyd also gave it a B. Samo did your survey right away, but now wish you could go back and change officers to a big F. The fact they shorted us 7 Beverly shards, then were called out for it. Instead of just gifting them as they should, they made another spend event after we've all just been wiped by 3 straight XLBs. Very mad about it. Well, I can understand that for sure. And yes, the fact that, neither of the 2 officers were sourced through the month. You were not guaranteed either officer in this arc, which is also something else that I feel warrants them with a slightly lower grade. You had to participate in, there were, none of the ticket events gave out shards for the officers. None of the, all the other officers for the most part, the other events gave out old previous officers. There was one event in the middle of the month that did give out a couple of Beverly shards, but for the most part, it was a lot of SMS, SLB type events, and you were not really guaranteed anything. So I can definitely agree with that. X-Borg Research, yeah. The Borg Research here definitely I feel like gets an A. Total quality of life improvement. The X-Borg Faction Store, however, this is a great thing to put in the game now, but nobody's going to use it. Nobody's going to use their very limited amounts of credits on this stuff now when they need it to do so much research. 6 months from now, when you've gotten enough of the reputation to get all the way out here, and then you've had enough, even then you're probably not going to have enough credits to do all of the different tiers and levels. I mean, a lot of these things have 10, 5 to 10 different points for a lot of these things that you can scale these up. That with the rate you're getting credits, people are going to be investing their credits in this stuff for 6 to 12 months. So the X-Borg Faction Store, I'm going to give it a D because it will be useful someday, but it has next to 0 value today. Mess Hall is great, especially for lower level players, since they don't have as many things that boost those stats, and it is not ops locked. Borg Faction Store may have value in 12 to 18 months, but would be a waste of materials to spend any credits in today. So overall, on the whole feature grading as an arc, as a whole, what are we thinking here? Mess Hall was a B, X-Borg Research was an A, Faction Store is a D. I think that rounds out to be about a B. Hey, Highlanders raiding on in over with 10 people. Good evening, sir. Past your bedtime, isn't it? No, it's still early for you. It's only 12:30. What are you doing? Quitting? Quitter. Good evening, everybody coming in from I Am Highlanders channel. Those of you unfamiliar. I Am Highlanders is another Star Trek Fleet Command streamer. He is in Scotland. He's over there in, yeah, he's Scottish. It's got to be with that accent. Can't think of anything else that would be. So he streams normally EU-friendly times, which for a lot of us is our working time. So it makes for great background listening while we're trying to get some tasks accomplished. And if you're not already following him, go ahead and give him a little thumbs up, a little likey over there on his channel. So we're just doing our ARC grading right now, giving our value, our grading on the different features and stuff so far. What else we got next? The event calendar. Appropriate events and distribution events keeping with the theme of the ARC. Players in most events with good value and rewards. The time input. See, this is where I'm kind of torn, because it feels like B is somewhere between a B and a C, because players could easily participate in most of the events. The problem is for a lot of people is that the events were not really very challenging. The rewards for them weren't really overly great. There were a lot of things like you did, like all of the Next Generation, all of the other arcs that gave officer shards from previous storylines. It was pretty straightforward what you had to do. You went out, you did it, and here you go. Here's your 2 Deanna Troi shards. Here's your 2 Will Riker shards. And you were just like, okay, great. Thanks. Like 2 shards does not really make for an exciting reward, especially when that's it. It's like, that was your event today. Here, do this thing and get 2 Will Riker shards. Do this thing and get 2 Deanna Troi shards. Like, those were your events. So I think I'm going to go ahead and say that the events were, and the rewards were not really inspiring. And I think I'm going to give it a C. So I like that they had a variety of events. I like what they were trying to do with the payouts. And I like that they weren't overly complicated to complete. Especially if you had access and you were 38 plus and you could do the freebooters. It saved you a lot of time. A lot of them had different scoring mechanics. It was, go out and grind Eclipse hostiles, go out and grind Borg probes, or kill some freebooters. But that option was only available to the 38 plus players, because that's where they put the freebooter X-Borg faction stuff, was at 38 plus. So rewards were minimal and events were often very quick to complete. Left a lot to be desired. GP thinks I'm being generous with that assessment. Okay. But Major Samo loved the more chill pace and vibe. Thinking that February was a lot more hectic. Okay. Quick events meant actually finally having time to do the endless grind. That's true if you get your daily events done, but half the time some of them do overlap, right? Go out and kill Eclipse hostiles. Well, I had to do that anyway because I need to stock up for a couple days. But I see your point, where it's enabling you to go do whatever you wanted instead. Just make sure I'm not dead, since I did just start to leave myself kind of parked out there. Let's fly back. I don't want to leave myself sitting out there way OPC. All right, let's move on. Communication. All right. Any of you who've seen my channel for the last 2 weeks know exactly how I feel about their lack of communication regarding the Treasury screw-up, and the fact that here we are 2 weeks later now, and they still haven't addressed it, which still chaps my ass. Yes, I said it. Oh no, said a bad word. Yep, I did. So immediately, this radio silence comes into play, which immediately means that the highest grade I could give them is a D. So now it's between a D and an F. And F means game made unplayable. Is the game unplayable? I don't think it is. But we had events that clearly failed to launch. There were serious bugs, and there was an incredible lack of communication. So I think this has to be a D. I think this has to be a D. Failure to launch treasury event. Ring any bells? Lack of any update or response from Scopely for over 2 weeks now is unacceptable. If I almost want to give him an F just for that, but the game was technically playable without it. So I will keep my personal feelings bottled up, and I will give them a D. And hi Stewie. The Apple users getting locked out was last month. That was mid-February. I think we had that issue, and then they were getting back in there. What we have here is a failure to communicate, and then some, Olympus, and then some. No proper announcement about Wayun and Ducat changing. That's true. They also didn't get changed. You're right, Stewie. It is hard to keep all of their screw-ups straight. Usually I have to go into the official channel and go look at the announcements and just sort of scroll back to see when they posted to find out, what did we screw up this month? Oh, okay, well, let's see. Let's see. We're talking about some of the different buildings. We had to change this SMS because the point totals were all screwed up for the Gowron event. Then there was the other one where you had to kill 9 million Borg probes because they, put the decimal way too far over to the side. What was it? It was like 9,000 Borg probes is what you had to kill because of how they had the scoring set up. It was ridiculous. Then we had the upside down, which was bank error in our favor, still a screw up. It just happened to benefit us for once, which it rarely ever does. Rarely do their screw ups work in our favor, but we did have that upside down syndicate event, right? That was this month where we got some extra Borg Queen shards. St. Patrick's Day didn't launch right, and the scoring on that was thrown off, so they had to give out gift chests for that with the points in it. There were different server stability lags. Yeah. Beverly's officer ability being screwed up and not being fixed right away, or not being fixed until, a giant fuss was made about it through YouTube videos. If that worked, we would have had a treasury event. I'm sorry. Apparently, I guess I don't make a big enough fuss in YouTube videos. So, yep. So we're gonna go with the D. We're gonna go with the D for that one, because yeah. Okay. Well, gee, thanks. Submit. There you go. So overall, this arc gets like a C plus, C minus, somewhere in that range. Like, some of the features were good. The officers we gave a C. The new features were really good with the X-Borg, store research and things, and the mess hall. Those were all good. There was no ship this month. So